Welcome to a pro-wife story. Today I will be talking with Kristina Rucker. Kristina is the wife of longtime favorite Carolina Panther Mike Rucker, and this is her story.
You always try to be what people think you are, and that's really not the case. I try to get people to know me for who I am before they know where I came from. Being real is what it's all about. Just be yourself, to live your life the way you want to live it and fulfill your dreams instead of trying to always fulfill someone else's.
Michaela Scurlock presents A Pro-Wife Story, featuring Kristina Rucker.
Hey Chris, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and agreeing to sharing your life with us. I'm gonna dive right into it. How did Mike and you meet?
We went to college together at University of Nebraska-Lincoln. We were juniors, and we actually met at a bar.
Was he a smooth talker?
He tried to be. There was a point where he actually barked at me in the bar, and all my girlfriends were like, "Are you serious? Kristina, is that Mike?" I'm like, "Yep, he's been asking me to go out, you know." So anyway, funny story, but we left that night, and then he ended up calling, so.
Okay, so of course I'm gonna back up, because physically bark?
Yeah, no. It was like a growl and a hardcore bark loud in the bar. That's why they were like, "Google Moss, let's go." So.
Yeah, was that attractive to you?
No.
Because we don't know that side about Mike Rucker. I'm sorry, so I have to talk about this.
No. Yeah, that's Mike's character. It's just kind of on the down low. People know a couple sides of Mike, but that's one that he doesn't show very often.
No, I certainly haven't heard him ever bark.
Yeah.
So did you guys get married while you were still in college, or did you get married after he was drafted with the Carolina Panthers?
We got married our second year in the league. We wanted to make sure we got acclimated to what was going on with the league in Carolina, and we did get engaged our second year and got married our third.
Now, how did he propose? Was it anything special?
Oh, actually, there's a good story to that one too. One day he came home and kind of acted funny walking through the door and said he had to go upstairs, and I was wondering, what is he doing? So I knew we had been talking engagement rings. So I knew he had it in his pocket, basically. So when he left the next day, I couldn't do it, of course, that time. And I kind of am bad about surprises. So when he left the next day, I went upstairs and I just looked for it. And he left one little dresser, just cracked just a little bit, and I found it. So I was trying. You
weren't looking at it for at all, right? I mean,
I was
found
totally looking for it. I was, but yes, I happened to find it, and I shared it with a girlfriend of mine, and she had told her husband, and it got to him back at the stadium. So it was not a good scenario, to say the least. So he came home and handed it to me. So, "Though this is what you wanted, right? You found it. Here it is." And so I ruined our little proposal. But
so he came home and just handed you the box and said, "Here we go."
Yep. I ruined it. I truly ruined it. But he had worked so hard to get the right one, and we had talked about it forever, that it was still super special. But yeah, not always the best outcome on that.
No, but it's really cute.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you shared it with us. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about your transition into the NFL.
Okay.
More with Michaela and Kristina Rucker when A Pro-Wife Story returns. A Pro-Wife Story continues with Michaela and Kristina Rucker.
Okay, I'm wondering, now that you're in the NFL, I mean, you know, I'm doing this show to begin with to help eliminate some of these stereotypes that are out there. So everyone expects, when you're a professional athlete's wife, that you have a fancy car. So when you guys transitioned from being in college and got into the NFL, did you get a fancy car? How did that look like?
Yeah, no. Mike is very tight, or when we got to the league, he was very, very tight. I mean, he had no credit in college. We had to use my credit because he always paid with everything with cash. I mean, just never had any of that. So when we got here, I was driving my college car, and I'm like, yes. What car do I want? Let me think. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm not getting you a car. We're gonna use your car for probably 2-3 years." I'm like, "What?" "Well, then you drive my car and I'll drive your car, and then we'll be good." And he goes, "I can't drive your car to the stadium. I'd get clowned out of the locker room." And I thought, well, what if I get clowned out of the locker room too with the girls? So anyway, yeah, it took us a while to replace my car. But
you call it cheap. I'm sure he probably would call it more like resource conscientious.
Right, of course.
But I do know, knowing this about you guys and having known you guys for a while, he has a special way, for shopping for things. Because I remember when you guys got first in the league, didn't he buy a set of speakers, I think, a special way?
Yeah, that's a good one too. People probably wouldn't picture Mike as gullible, but he kind of is gullible. So somebody caught him at the stoplight and asked him, hey, I got some speakers in the back. And Mike's like, actually, I was just talking about some speakers. He wanted some speakers. And he's like, well, they're $500 a piece. I can give them to you right in the back. And he thought, well, maybe we'll do that, but I don't have any cash. And so the guy's like, well, wait, there's an ATM right over there. So Mike actually came home with these speakers, and I could not believe he got because they were dummy speakers, and he got caught with 2 of them. So we clowned him big time at Thanksgiving at home. So it was a good.
So, typically the guys will tell you, don't have someone follow you to the teller.
Absolutely.
And watch them take out money.
He would be the first one to tell you that. Are you kidding me? You did what? And he did that. So.
Mike has a lot of funny stories. This is supposed to be your stories, but Mike's stories are actually funny, so I'm glad you're sharing them with us. Now, when you got to the point where you started to get acclimated in the NFL, did you feel like you had to live up to like a certain kind of image?
Oh, coming from college and coming from Nebraska, you are comparing yourself, from no matter where you're from, but it's always like, are you good enough? Are you skinny enough? Are you wearing the right clothes? Do you fit in? All those things go through your mind. It doesn't matter what position or what job your husband has. I think that you find that in every environment to some point. But coming here, I was a little country girl, and I had a long way to go to feel like I was going to fit in. But, through time, we played in the league 9 years, and you grow and you learn as you go. And then some of those things aren't nearly as important to you as you thought they were going to be at the beginning.
What were some of those emotions when you said, you felt like you had a long way to fit in? What were some of those things that you felt like you had to?
Well, of course, we weren't married, so that was a tough one. You were a girlfriend, which is different than being a wife. So when you're walking in the locker room, there's a lot of girlfriends, but if you're a wife, you have a reason to be there, I guess I felt. So I didn't have a ring, so people didn't know who you were with or who you belonged to because, people change. Clothes, coming from Nebraska, I wasn't, the most fancy, I guess you would say. You'd go in the locker room and there'd be some vet wives that looked, to the nines. And I guess that's just one thing you remember. But as you get older, like I said, those things didn't matter as much. And you just kind of roll with the punches and enjoy the game. And that's the reason you're there and just move forward.
And I find it interesting for myself, even from my own experience. I recall at the beginning of Mike's career, spending more time in the closet trying to figure out what I'm going to wear to a game than actually focusing on why we're there.
Right.
And all you do is just walk from the stadium to the car. And you're right, I think at some point that light bulb goes off and you're like, wait, everyone is the same.
Right.
Everyone around us is the same. So
Right.
when did that light bulb go off for you? Was it when you transitioned into being a wife, or was it while you were still a girlfriend?
I think probably more so when I was a wife and I didn't have to stress about knowing if I was gonna be a wife, and then when you start having children, sometimes you don't have time to worry about what you're gonna wear to the game because you have to make sure the babysitter's here on time so you can get to the game, so there so many more factors came into play as you got older and more into life itself.
Mm-hmm. And Chris, it's interesting, because it's not just women that are married to professional athletes that struggle with that image. I think every woman, to a certain degree, at some point in their life, struggles with that, trying to fit in. It doesn't matter where you are. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think, it's interesting to me that, you shared that, and everyone I've spoken to so far has always said, that you feel this underlying pressure, but you find a way to overcome that by listening to someone like you.
Right.
And someone sharing that.
Right.
Were there any insecurities ever that you had that you felt like you had to deal with along with those other feelings?
Well, because Mike was a little bit tighter with our money and I wasn't working at that point, I felt like I really couldn't buy the things that I wanted to play the part or to be the part. So I did get a job and finally started making my own money, which gave me more of a purpose for being me, but also to have some more confidence about having the opportunity to make my own money and to use it on what I want to use it on and help contribute to the family too. Because with his career, we didn't really have a chance for me to have mine in our situation. But as time went on, I got my real estate license and we opened up a real estate company. And I've really succeeded in doing bigger and better things and making my own money, which gives me more confidence and helps me to contribute, and which is a good thing because I felt like I wanted all these things, but he was giving me everything that I wanted or needed, but yet to be able to provide them on my own was a whole different ball game. And I'm still doing real estate today, and we're enjoying that too. So.
As a wife of a professional athlete, sometimes do you feel like did you have to put yourself behind on the back burner and
absolutely.
He's in the limelight?
Absolutely. Which that's what you sign up for. I mean, we went to college together. I knew he was going to play pro football. So when we got here, that was just the goal, the purpose, to get him to do as well as he could. I help. There's so many things at home that you have to do to help him succeed, and a lot of people don't see that either. I mean, if there's a bad game or if you have a 1-in-15 season, he's coming home a beast. He's stressed and he's crabby, and you just have to make sure everything's just calm, to have the family life still. So there's a lot that goes into that I just decided that I would put my career on hold because I was always going to be an exec in a business setting, and that's what I always wanted to do. Well, I waited for him in college, and then we came out here, and I worked at Pier 1 for a couple months just to have something because I traveled with him.
Great place to work.
I know, right? But so yeah, definitely I put myself.
I'm sure you found some way to spend some of that
I
money
did
at
actually.
Pier 1.
Yep, I did.
More with Michaela and Kristina Rucker when a Pro Wife Story returns. A Pro Wife Story continues with Michaela and Kristina Rucker.
So, Chris, here's the deal. I know for a fact it's not always easy to be a professional athlete's wife. Heck, as a matter of fact, it's not easy to be a wife, period, sometimes. But when you're a professional athlete's wife, and at times something may happen, like giving birth to a child during the season, what does that feel like?
Well, we've had 3 children, and so our first one we had off season, which was great. No dilate. We didn't have to induce or anything like that. So the second one we weren't so lucky. We did awesome that year. That's the year we went to the Super Bowl. So I had to induce after one of his big playoff games, and we had to have the baby on his off day. And then we ended up taking Mason, which was our second, to the Super Bowl at 3 weeks. So, and then our third baby was another induced labor because of when she was born as well.
So you took a 3-week-old to the Super Bowl.
To the Super Bowl, yep.
And I'm trying to visualize this.
Okay, so we took him to the Super Bowl, but we didn't take him to the game. So we had a sitter come with us.
Okay.
And so I went to the game because I couldn't miss.
Right.
But we were breastfeeding at that point. So at 3 weeks. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take a little breast pump with me. I'll put it in my purse and go to the bathroom, right? So that didn't happen. So it did happen. I went to the bathroom and it broke. The breast pump broke. So was it
one that you plug up?
No, it was a pump.
Because I was gonna say they have a very distinctive sound.
No, it was a pump. It was a pump, and I had been, when you go for the Super Bowl, you leave super early in the morning. So it had been 9 hours. And I was in the heart of breastfeeding. So it was just an awkward day. It was just.
So wait. For all the women watching.
Yes.
It'd been 9 hours since you had pumped last.
Yes.
Okay, very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
We all know this.
Right.
But then I'm trying to figure out, you bring your breast pump. So this was before the days, because I know now you have to have a clear bag when you go into the game.
Right, yeah, no, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Right.
Because that would have been really funny, you carrying in a breast pump with a clear NFL bag.
Yep.
But I guess you got to do what you got to do, right?
You do. And I wasn't going to miss the game. It was the first time we'd ever been to the Super Bowl. And to take Mason to the game, he would have been a ticket, which would have been $500 at that point.
Yeah.
And so we needed the ticket, and the sitter would have been better with him at home anyway, or at the airport or a hotel. So it just worked out that way.
I am just thinking, because I am very, like, when I watch a football game, I'm very much into, like, the ups and downs of the game. And I know you are too. I mean, as a matter of fact, every wife or every fan really is.
Yeah.
And so I'm just visualizing all that with you not being able to pump. But okay, like I said, I'm gonna leave it there.
Yep.
This is a show for everyone, but it's just an interesting thought. So,
Yeah.
Okay, the other child, Marley, was born also prior to a big event, but something you didn't really anticipate, right?
Right. Marley was 2.5 to 3 weeks old, and Mike tore his ACL, and so he had to have surgery immediately, and we didn't have any family here to stay with the kiddos, so I took her to the hospital with me, and we stayed a couple nights with him in the hospital. So I mean, it was easier because we had a big room, and they helped us out as far as the CMC was concerned, but it was still challenging too. I mean, he couldn't walk, and so I had a new baby. I was still recovering. He couldn't walk. We had 2 other children, so it was just one of those scenarios where it was tough. It was tough.
What gets you through that? Like, how do you fight through?
I mean, you just do it. You don't have a choice, so you just charge it full force. And his mom did come like that next week to help out. But the crazy thing is they took a muscle from one leg to put it in the other, so he was really down both. So he couldn't even walk. And then he had to have the machine at night. And it was just, I mean, people go through injuries all the time. I get that. But it's just with the new baby and all that going on, it was challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine that's really tough because when you have a baby, all of our emotions go through
Sure.
I mean, we're already super hormonal. And now, you have a husband
that needs you more than your baby. Yeah.
And now you're probably, I mean, how did you decompress? Like, did you ever cry, or did you
Yeah, of course. I talked to my mom all the time for support. And the crazy thing is I was getting my real estate license at that same time.
Yeah.
So, and that was tense because that was a 6-week course, that you did 24/7. So it was just one of those phases in life that, are challenging, but you get through them. You get through them like anything else.
Yeah, you fought through, obviously, which, is amazing. So it wasn't like a cakewalk, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a cakewalk.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm really wondering, we talk about you and your experiences, we laugh about you taking, the breast pump and all that to the Super Bowl, but really, when you're already trying to, quote, fit in, and you're having to fight that emotion, like we said and have established earlier, not just professional athletes' wives have to do, but sometimes women in general. How do you feel when you're on top of that, pregnant? We know how our bodies change when we're pregnant.
Right.
Did you experience anything of that? Anything like that?
Absolutely. After the Super Bowl, Mike had made it to the Pro Bowl that year. So I have a 4-week-old baby at that point, and I have to get in a swimsuit in Hawaii at the Pro Bowl. It was like the worst case scenario ever. Not only are you breastfeeding, you have all the weight from the baby. It's just like, can't we just do it a different year? Can we go next year instead? But we got through it again, and I just, I felt uncomfortable because everybody's there to the nines because it's the Pro Bowl, and it's in Hawaii, no less. So, and that's with every pregnancy, and no matter where you are. I mean, I think women feel like that all the time, or most people, unless you have an awesome genetic.
Right, and I don't think it exists
Yeah.
because you're right. I think we get we get swollen, or
Sure.
Things happen, things change with our body and our physique, right? And even if I've met some of the most, that I think, beautiful women, you being one of them, who look beautiful when they're pregnant, but in here, something else tells us that we may not be that way.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to sort of touch on it a little bit, because I do believe it's important to know that, again, as we talk about just being a woman and not necessarily a professional athlete's wife, but a woman in general, there's a lot more that we experience. So,
Right.
so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And so when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about you guys and life after the NFL.
A Pro Wife Story returns in just a moment. A Pro Wife Story continues with Michaela and Kristina Rucker.
I remember when Mike had such a great career. I mean, he was so blessed to be with the same team for so many years, because some guys, hop all over the league. But I remember when he gave his press conference and he announced his retirement. And I know we've joked about Mike earlier, but that was a moment when I felt or saw something, like you were able to almost look inside of him, right? Because he was so emotional about it.
Right.
And I know you were at that press conference,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Can you take me to that moment and tell me what you were feeling?
That was a tough day. I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it was on him as it was. So I'm like, hey, bud, you ready for this? You look good. He was in a suit, ready to go. And he's always joking about something. So, he wasn't quite as, laughy, funny, on the way there. And I thought, are you nervous? You're not nervous, are you? And he's like, no, I'm not nervous. I'm straight. So as we got there, he just wouldn't talk. So then I just knew just to step back, as a wife, just to step back and let this be his moment, let him think it through, because that's what he was doing. Because he kind of thinks everything through before he actually jumps into something. So you could tell he was nervous. And when he was up there speaking, he just poured it from his heart. And hearing him say those things and living all that with him was definitely emotional for both. But as you can see, he couldn't keep it in either. But he was so proud of himself for being here with with the Panthers for 9 years and being as successful as he was. So it was really a good day for him, but very emotional.
Well, we felt it as someone who knows him personally, but also just as a viewer. You really felt that there was something inside going on in him on that day. And like I said, I was curious because you just said something key. You said, I lifted with him. And you did.
Absolutely, from the beginning to the end. I mean, we interviewed the agents and everything, the financial advisors, all that from college on, and we went through the whole process together. So it was really neat. It was a neat experience to be there to just summarize it and truly feel what he was feeling that day.
How do you, after that moment, how do you get in the car and look at each other and go like, okay?
Yeah. It was kind of like that. It was kind of like, wow, it's over. It's done. The hard part's over, I think it was a big weight off his shoulder too, because I don't think you ever really want to retire. I don't know. But yeah, after that, it just another day. And then
yeah. Did you, now when that happened, and I know that people move, people retire, people get jobs with another team, people get just different jobs in general. So you come and see friends that, some have happy endings like you, some don't have happy endings like you, but you make friends and then, I don't want to say lose friends, but you are disconnected with them because life just calls them to be somewhere else.
Right.
Was that hard for you?
We never planned on staying in Charlotte. We always were going to go back home or go back Denver way. That's kind of where our heart was. But because the kids were here and in school, and because we had a couple companies or businesses already established, we thought, what, maybe we should stay. So, there was a lot of people that stayed too, and there's a lot of people that have came back. But with life, with 3 children and our companies, we are so busy that it's so hard to stay connected. And you do see, couples come and go, and you see divorces, and you see all that. So, he sticks close with some of his guys that, are no longer married to my friends. And so we definitely have a tough time, taking the time to reach out, but when we get a chance, we definitely do. So it's hard. It's hard.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I always appreciate about you and Mike, you guys always very, very, very motivated to contribute and do more. So I know for a fact you guys started a real estate company, Vision Girl Realty.
Right.
And that was shortly after Mike retired, or was
it was before.
Before.
It was before he retired. Yep. He always would do an internship on the off season, hands down. He really wanted to find a good niche for himself, and so his dream was to create a company or a vision, a real estate company that would help ball players be guided in the right direction. He felt that there were so many misled by how much money they made, that people attacked him for certain things. And he had seen so many people go down the wrong path with purchasing homes that he felt like that's somewhere I could find myself. So he developed the company to be able to help give guys a professional agent to lead them in the right direction, in a home that they can afford, that they're looking for, not something way overpriced that they can't resell. So that was where his heart was, and that's how Vision Group came about.
Do you think people flock to professional athletes and their wives and families because of what they do?
Oh, sure. I do see that. I feel that. And not always the case, but when you have money and it's published in the newspaper, then people are like, you know what, let's go to them for this idea, or let's go to them and have them donate, or let's go. You know, there's so many reasons people can come to you. That's one thing with Mike at the very beginning. He was very careful with his money, and we only did things where he felt his heart really led him. And we did contribute to a lot of things, but there was a lot of things we said no to. And that's hard too, to tell somebody no, especially family.
Yeah. Did you lose any friends?
We have lost friends. Yeah, we have lost friends.
And how did that make you feel? Because sometimes, when things like that happen,
You don't expect it. It just kind of happens. You think you're prepared and you think you know somebody, but things aren't always what they seem or appear to be. And we've learned along the way, and we've stuck together and gone through the hardships together with some of those things, and you just have to move on from that. But yeah, that's it's never a fun thing.
does the money make up for it?
No, money, more problems, right? That's what they say. I mean, we are super blessed, and we live a very happy life, but that's not because of our money. It's because of our family and who we are, really.
More of a pro-wife story right after this. A pro-wife story continues with Michaela and Kristina Rucker.
Okay, Chris. People refer to you and Mike as celebrities, and you're very well known in the community. And I'm wondering, when you are a celebrity, do you ever get embarrassed, or you are immune to that?
With the celebrity thing, I don't see us as a celebrity, of course. I see him as a celebrity. And so he is more of a people person than I am. So sometimes I do stay in the shadows. I don't stand right beside him. And it's funny because my older daughter, she'll truck right in with him. She loves it. But that's not me. So we do go to functions together, like the Dancing with the Stars. Okay, so that was a huge event for him, and he loved it. But me, I'm like, babe, I don't want to be up there with you. Don't pull me. I'm going to watch you. We're going to do you, and that's kind of why our relationship fits good, is because we have one of each. And so I would say I stick in the background some.
But have you ever gotten embarrassed?
I can't think of a time where I was like, oh, well, yeah, I guess so.
Don't hold out on me.
I mean,
I'm like, okay, I have plenty of stories to get embarrassed.
So yes, you're right. So there was, I'm not really what do you call it? I'm not really, I don't get like super stoked when I see somebody, right? Like starstruck, right? I mean, we see people just because of where we go and what the events we do. So, however, there is one person that I have never really met before, and we were at a basketball game, and Mike's like, Chris, and he said this particular guy's name, right? And I said, what? Who? He goes, there's Michael Jordan. I'm like, Michael Jordan? Where's he at? Because I didn't want to like look, of course. So he's like, I'm like, where's he at? And he said, he's just across the court. So I'm looking, trying not to be starstruck, but I was looking, and there was a guy in front of me, and there was a step down, and I biffed. I completely biffed. I fell over to the guy, and the guy caught me. It was and Mike's like, oh my gosh, I should have never told you, because he gets embarrassed really easy too, like, Chris, oh my gosh, what are you doing? But I had to check Michael Jordan out, because he was across the way, and I had never met him before. So yes, I would definitely say that was probably one of my...
Did you wipe out?
Oh, I wiped out. I wiped out.
Did you hurt yourself?
No, but the guy caught me. So, I mean, he softened the fall, but I mean, I had heels on. I was ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
And the guy helped you up. Where was Mike?
Oh, behind me. He
Hiding?
couldn't catch me. Yeah, hiding probably. No, but he's like, oh, wow, I should have never even said anything. But
did you ever get to meet Michael Jordan?
I didn't. No, I did not. But one day, he lives here, so you never know.
Yeah,
You never
yeah.
know. But I guess I grew up with him being the star of, basketball.
Hey,
You know,
we
so
all do.
yeah.
We all have someone. I know me personally. I mean, it was very sad to me when Michael Jackson passed away.
Right.
Because that was the one person I just wanted to meet.
Sure.
And so we all have someone that we want to meet.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Totally get it.
Yeah. So,
So I know you just had a birthday.
yes.
And did you do anything special?
You know, the kids always go to Windy Gap the week of Labor Day.
Is that a camp?
It's a
or-
camp. It's a Christian camp that the kids go to from school.
Yeah.
And I always volunteer. So I went 3 days. And my birthday happened to land on the day after I got back. And so Mike's Mr. Camper, people may know that, may not, but he loves to camp. And so he's like, great idea. Let's go camping after you get back from Windy Gap. I'm like, bud, I just went camping for 3 days. So you're going to have me drive back 3 hours and then go 3 hours to go camp again. And he said, yeah, that'd be great for your birthday. I'm like, no, not really for my birthday. It's just more for me or for you. And he's like, it'll be fun. It's a family trip. So he took me camping for my birthday this year. So.
Okay, time out. Describe what you mean by camping. Like you guys have a tent or what do you?
Well, we first started off with the pop-up, and then we have an RV
What's
now.
a pop-up?
A pop-up
Because
camper.
not all of us are
Well, we're
campers.
from
Sorry.
the Midwest, so yes, the pop-up camper is where, it's you take it behind your truck and you pop it up and it turns into a little tent camper.
Oh.
So yes, so now then we got the RV, so there's at least a shower in there, so so he can get me to go a little bit longer or more often because I have my own shower. But yeah, so we just took the big RV down to Cherokee for three days and just went camping for the weekend. We went whitewater rafting and all that, so it was fun. But
Okay, I'm sorry because okay, I'm visualizing Mike. I mean, he's not a small guy.
Okay, no,
First of all, I'm trying to visualize him on a pop-up.
okay, well, yeah.
Then I'm trying to visualize him camping, period, because
Okay, let me
I
just
mean,
let
come
me
on,
break
Chris.
this down for you. Okay, so he drives this big old RV, right? He's wearing his big old fishing hat, and there's a little white girl on the right side of the truck, and there's a big old black dude just driving the big old RV. So we look like when we're driving into the KOA or whatnot. I mean, we get a lot of looks. I'm like, Mike, please take off your hat. At least look normal, like so people don't So anyway, so yeah, our camping trips are usually very funny.
what does his fishing hat look like?
Oh, it's one of those big round rimmed ones that.
Does he have like little things hanging from it? Because I know
No,
some
but
of
the little choker, underneath. So he uses all that and plays the part. But that's really him. He loves outdoors. He loves to fish and hunt and camp and I do too. And I grew up like that. But sometimes, you can take me to a resort too for my birthday would be great.
Right.
So-
And the kids like it?
Oh, the kids love to camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lexa's getting a little old where she's like, really, Mom? Again? Are we going to go camping? But it's fun family time. And like I said, we went whitewater rafting where the kids had a ball. So, it's fun things that you get to do that you wouldn't do here. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just, it's just so funny because a lot of people don't necessarily, camp. I know that, camping for me personally would probably be something just like you maybe, where I would say, I'll do it if you make me do it. Definitely not for my birthday. So
Right.
I'm with you 100% on that. So Mike has always been an outdoorsy guy.
Yeah,
He's always,
most definitely. Yeah.
and you've always gone right along.
Yeah, we even had a date weekend where we had a big tent and it was me and 10 guys and it was like a 20-man tent. Oh, it was, I should have known way back then that it was only going to get worse. Well, not necessarily worse because I guess camping in an RV is different than a tent. But no, he's always been like that ever since I've met him. So.
That's funny. I really appreciate it. Mike is not here right now, but he has been great to talk about.
I know.
So thanks to Mike and thanks to you for handling it so well on your birthday. So.
Oh, well, thanks.
Well, we're almost at the end, and I hate it because I can talk to you for hours, but when we get back, I do want to touch a little bit about what is to come for the Ruckers in the future.
More with Michaela and Kristina Rucker when a pro-wife story returns. A pro-wife story continues with Michaela and Kristina Rucker.
Okay, Chris, what's next for the Ruckers? I know that obviously Vision Group Realty is a big part of your life and you guys work together. you've taken an active role in the business.
Definitely, yep. He owns the company.
Yeah.
I have my real estate license, so he really doesn't do what I do. We do separate jobs, but he does go with me to showings and things like that because it's really not safe to go alone for one, but for two, I always say he's my assistant. So, and he doesn't like that, and he's not here, so he can't say anything else, but yeah, he's my assistant.
I was just gonna say, you call him your assistant, he might say he's your boss.
Right, right,
So,
but you know.
which one is it?
I guess it could be a little bit of both, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of a boss too, so
Yeah.
it works. It works.
Yeah, I think that's naturally for all of us a little bit, you know. He also works for the Panthers still, right? He does
Yes.
things in the NFL, so he's stayed involved.
He has. He works
Yeah.
for the Panthers too with the preseason color, and then he works for the league. He works with the Legends program, just help keeping retired guys informed. And he loves that. He loves having his hands in a bunch of things, so he's not held to just one position, because he feels strongly about all those, and to be able to do them all is what he likes to do. And plus, then he can be home with the kiddos, because you know our kids are at an age where there's so many activities and things that, for one, I need help because I can't do it all by myself, but for two, he wants to be part of it. So.
And earlier we talked a little bit about you putting yourself on the back burner. But now that he's retired and you guys are working together, you're doing things, do you feel like you're more embracing who you are as a woman and as a person?
I do, but I'm never going to be back to a position where I want to take that high role position in the business field, where that's where I got my degree in. But I do feel like I can accomplish a lot through real estate and through the company, and with him and I working together, there's a lot of avenues that we can take to really be successful together. And it's really all about being together, because Mike and I do well working together, and we love to be with the kids as much as we can. So it's a win-win both ways.
When you work together, you know, first, I mean, you went through your share of ups and downs in the NFL, and with injuries and different things like that. And then when you work together, are you guys, I mean, ever in disagreement, or is everything always perfect?
Oh heavens, no, nothing's ever always perfect. But we do work well together. We see things differently on situations all the time, and we do bicker or go back and forth. But I think that's just healthy in a relationship. You know, we stay, you know, focused on God, and He leads us, and whatever comes our way, you know, we just tackle it together. And then you transfer that to your kids. You know, kids are like, stop fighting. We're not fighting. We're discussing. We're arguing about, you know, we're talking about, you know, whatever the case may be. So it's good, and it's healthy for the kids to see that you can work things out too. So.
So I have to bring this up.
Okay.
Little birdie told me you guys have an appointment tomorrow. Something very unique, right?
You know, this is funny. Okay, so Mike got a tattoo in college, right? So he got a tattoo of a big stallion horse with an Indian on top, right? So as he was big and muscly, and the horse was big. The horse was nice. It was a good tattoo. Okay, so now that he's lost a lot of this weight and this muscle tone, not that he's lost a ton of muscle tone, but he's not as big as he used to be. Now I always tell him, that is my little pony on there instead of a big stallion. He's like, don't call that is like the real deal. So anyway, this is what I told him. I said, for my birthday this year, I want to go get tattoos together. He's like, what? I'm not doing a tattoo. I already have one. I'm like, no, let's just go do one together. But really, you know, I'm just trying to change my little pony up a little bit. So we went to go talk about what we were going to get. And he's like, you have to be in the chair how long? It's going to take how many hours? And so now he has to rethink it. So our appointment was canceled for tomorrow.
Wait a second. You know, we got big football player.
He's worried about
Did he cancel it because of the pain?
I think he canceled it, for one, because now he doesn't know for sure what he wants to do, because he didn't realize you had to be in the chair that long to get what he initially wanted. And then two, he's just like, I don't think, Chris, you've never had one before. You don't know how painful it is. So yeah, I think he's worried a little bit about the pain, I think. But I can't say, because I haven't had one, so I don't know.
But you were going to get one too.
I was going to get one too.
But you weren't going to go alone.
No, oh gosh, no, it had to be. I wanted that for my birthday. I wanted him to get one. So he's like, it's your birthday, you get one. I'm like, for my birthday, that's what I want, is you to get one. so we're trying to work it out. So hopefully we'll reschedule.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I definitely hope so, because and that maybe, I wish you guys would have done it tomorrow, because it'd been so worth it to I would love to have been there.
I know.
That would have been worth it to have a camera there.
Oh, he would have been like, you have to go first. I mean, we would have argued who went first. I know he would have, because
Yeah.
he would have been like, had to have the back door to get out if he had to, so.
Yeah. Not everybody may have agreed with, you know.
Right,
And
true.
I mean, I'm sitting here, you know.
You're on.
I mean, I got mine after 40, so,
Yes.
and I did it because I felt like, you know, I wanted to. And
Sure.
I was sort of never doing it because I felt like I was concerned what people would think.
Right.
But you get to that point, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's not all about playing the part. You know, you're over it. Not that you're still not a wife, because Mike's definitely in the public eye still.
Yeah.
So I do have to, you know, carry on that image, which I would anyway, because that's just who I am. But yeah, it's a little bit more freeing. You're not.
But Chris, your image is, and you hit it on the head, I think, your image is not an image that the NFL or professional sports or or someone has put on you. I think the image is who God has created you to be, right?
Absolutely. Right.
I mean, that's everything about you and Mike.
I see myself more as a wife and a mom more than an NFL wife. You know, I don't know if I would say that back when I started, you know, when I did become the wife, because we had no children, I had no job, I mean, that's all I was. But as time goes on, it's nice to get more things that you are besides that label, you know, the NFL wife.
And I know we joked earlier about, you know, Mike being cheap and all that, but I do want to say this before we wrap up. Knowing both Mike and you two are some of the most giving people, not just in the local community, but, you know, worldwide. I know you guys have contributed to so many different organizations. So I do want to thank you for giving of, you know, your finances, but also of your time. And like I said, I know we joked about it, but I want to make sure we give Mike a little love.
Yes,
you know,
oh, yeah.
we've been tough on him this show.
I know.
So.
He's going to get at me for that, I'm sure.
So we have to wrap up. And one more question I want to ask you.
Okay.
If there's one thing you could leave those watching this show with, one important thing about you as a message, what would it be?
That's a good question, because you always try to be what people think you are, and that's really not the case. I mean, I have a lot of friends from school on my own that I know that I don't even tell I'm, you know, Mike's wife, or people. I try to get people to know me for who I am before they know where I came from. But to just be yourself, and just to live your life the way you want to live it, and fulfill your dreams instead of trying to always fulfill someone else's. I guess just to know that being real is what it's all about. And I try to do that every day, and I try to instill that in my kids too, because they feel that too. But just to live a normal life, and to raise your family, and seek God, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, thank you for doing it today.
You're welcome.
And always.
Well, thank you for
I mean,
having
they
me.
only get to see you today, but I get to see you regularly.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You've been watching A Pro-Wife Story, presented by Michaela Scurlock and the Carolina Panthers.